today we're going to be asking questions for the founder of Man Mind, Mark Gaizley.
There's always been something niggling at the back of my mind. So I could go anywhere. I could go mountain climbing. I was in the military, but there was something that I'd never quite content. We're not connecting with nature anymore. We're not connecting with the sea. We're not connecting with the land. We're not connecting in the woods. I wrote Man Mind actually. I wrote down these words, and it was about how I felt and how I thought men felt. I wanted to create a space for men to just be able to talk, because it's something I've wanted to do forever. Because men, we internalise a lot of stuff, and we're living in a world at the minute where it's like, how are we supposed to be men? People are coming to me and talking to me like I'm some sort of guru. I'm not. I've got experience in a lot of stuff in life, and I'm just a listener. That's it. You've got two ears, you've got one mouth. Sometimes a guy just needs someone to listen, not give him a solution, and just be like, right, I hear you.
Mark, mate.
Nice to meet you, buddy.
Nice to meet you, man.
Thanks for coming.
No, thanks for having us in your house. And yeah, man, I'm excited for this one. So yeah, I guess I'd love to give an introduction to yourself, but I'd love to throw it over to you. So, who is Mark Gaizley?
So, who am I? I don't know. I'm still working it out. No, so I'm Mark, and I live in Portsmouth. I do sports massage and landscaping, but my passion and my hobby is Man Mind, which you've heard about. And Man Mind is a community interest company, bringing men together to break the stigma of, not being able to speak, to meet up through the power of breath work, cold water therapy, and that's the kind of stuff I've been doing a long time. I've always been into self-help, self-development, pushing myself to see what my potential is, right? And that's what it's all about. And I stumbled across Man Mind. Well, actually, I didn't stumble across it. I wrote Man Mind, actually.
Okay.
It was a poem I wrote 5 years ago when I was doing my acting training, because I was trying to find a monologue that resonated with me. And I wrote down these words, and it was about how I felt and how I thought men felt. And I showed some men, and they were like, wow, that's literally how I feel. But nothing really happened. So it kind of got left on the back burner. COVID happened, and all the acting stuff kind of went crazy or whatever. Didn't happen. And then I came back to it kind of in London. I was living with my girlfriend at the time, and there's always been something niggling at the back of my mind. So I could go anywhere. I could go mountain climbing. I was in the military. Okay. There was something that I was never quite content. I was never quite there. And when I came back, we broke up, and I came back to Portsmouth and lived here, and had to go through some therapy because I kind of hit the lowest point of my life, had a lot of debt, and I was like, right, I need to do something with Man Mind. I need to make it, because I had made t-shirts originally, like the one I'm wearing, but I was like, I can't just have it as a gimmick. That's like trying to make money off like something, the idea was better than that. It was bigger than that.
Okay.
So I created the Man Mind morning first, and that was like, I was so scared, and that was just showing people that I did breath work for years, right? Wim Hof breath work. I've done cold therapy for like 5 or 6 years, and I was like, how can I incorporate that? But I needed to meet new friends. I came back from London. I was quite lonely. I had split up with my girlfriend, and I felt like I was losing who I was in a sense of purpose. So I started that, and that I rebuilt with that, and now it's just this. My life's better. My mental health is, I'd say, near enough perfect for where I want to be right now. And yeah, that's me. That's it. A lot of the stuff I was going through was based on my childhood and trauma that I've brought along through my adult life as well. And that all just at one point hit me so much that I just needed a reset, and it was like a full brain reset, and now we're where I am now.
That's better things. All right, so yeah, take me back then. So where'd you grow up then? Where's childhood for you?
I grew up here. I'm Portsmouth based. We started in Buckland, and then we moved to Southsea, and then from there I went to Priory School. That's where I met all my friends and stuff like that. But it's interesting. We grow up, and we're put in these like little bubbles of people, right? And that's who we think we're going to be friends with the rest of our life. And I've realised that actually going forward, people change, right? We grow apart, and it's not necessarily a sad thing or a bad thing, but you've got to grow with who you are, and sometimes that's away from people. So a lot of my school friends, one or two I speak to, but some of them I just don't. We all part ways. We go different places. Then I went to college, and I've worked pretty much my whole life. I've done like landscape gardening. I do a bit of landscaping now on sports massage. That's the bulk of what I do. And then I do the acting stuff. Try and do some comedy. I spin a lot of plates basically all the time.
So that's amazing. So through school then, how was you in school? Did you enjoy it?
I would say no. I was more like the class clown, like, because like when I was younger, I got told I had ADD, right, or ADHD. It wasn't spoken about as much as it is now. Obviously, it's cool to have something, right? But back then they thought you were just naughty, so they keep you off numbers and stuff like that. But I found school so boring. Like I'm a fidgeter. The best way that I could deal with that is by being silly. So like all my reports were class clown, had great potential, was really like I still held like a good intelligence, but I was witty. I was just silly, and like I excelled at like PE, drama, graphics, anything that was more creativity based. That's what I excelled at. And like I've always said, like academia is not my favourite friend. I'm more like you show me something, I'll do it, and I'll be able to do it really, really well. But write stuff down and see it on paper is like so that was like a big struggle for me. But my favourite thing was break times. It was literally just being an idiot. I've always been there, and I've always kind of maintained that throughout my life as well. The class clown fool.
Oh, fair enough. So you've gone through school. You come out. You love, because you're quite a fit lad. So you do your sports. Always been into your sports.
Yeah. So I've been into sports since I think I was about 3 years old when I joined my first football team, and I played football all the way through, all the way through my youth, and then it was just after my exams, my GCSEs, which I was terrible at because I didn't study, and I found a local gym, Wimbledon Park Gym, around the corner from where I lived. I stumbled upon these things called weights, and I was like, okay, I'll start doing this. So there was no real internet or YouTube program, so it was like an older person's gym, and they had like a multi-gym on it, and I was like, well, I'll start doing what I think I needed to do. So I was at that gym a lot. I was running and doing bits, and I started getting really fit, maxing out all the machines. And then one day my friend was like, oh, you should come to, I was from 15 to 18, I was going to that gym. And my mate was like, you need to come to this gym. I think I was either 17 or 18, and he took me to Fitness First.
Okay.
Oh, was I humbled. So me maxing out all the things at this gym on these little machines, he took me into that gym with his brother, who was a weightlifter and like a doorman, and I've never seen the men in that gym, just they outscaled me by like double body size, and I was humbled that day, and that was my love of the gym, and I've maintained that. I've done sports ever since. I played football ever since. I got into calisthenics. I've always done weightlifting. I'm into like the high rock sort of training now. I've always loved fitness. It's like I think it was for my go-to when I didn't know it was my go-to. I always found myself that no matter what I was going through, I was able to go there. I wanted to go and train and keep myself fit.
That's interesting, that. So when did you discover that you loved acting then? Obviously you was in the class clown, but when did you love it?
I think then really. I've always been like a performer. Do you know like Goodwood? They do the fireworks show and stuff like that.
Yeah, the racing.
Yeah. My nan used to take me to the fireworks events because the kids were there, and I'd be there like the fireworks going off, and I'd be pretending to be shot and die. And I did acting. I went to drama clubs and stuff like that. But what really happened was when I left the Navy, I was doing an engineering job, and my mum randomly she applied for Portsmouth Players for me because she's obviously always seen my creative side, and she knew that I'd loved to do stuff, but I kind of had this self-doubt like I'm too nervous to do stage stuff and whatever. So I saw the email and I was like, my gut dropped. Like I was so scared. I did the audition, got in, and then they had an upcoming show of the Full Monty the musical. I applied for a part and got it, and I was like, oh my god, this is the real deal. Anyway, lots of training and whatever later, I was on stage in front of 2,000 people at the King's Theatre, and I've never felt so alive. Like it was like, this is where I need to be. So after that, I got into like extras work. I went back to college and studied acting. I've got a show reel, and then I've been trying to do self-tapes and auditions. I've done so many auditions, but the good thing is as well, I've always feared rejection in my life, okay? But the acting industry sets you up for rejection anyway. You get spattered down so many times that now I'm just like, okay, you can deal with a lot more rejection because that's what it gives you. So if anything, it's been quite a learning curve, but I love it.
Fear of rejection, yeah.
The big
Honestly,
fear of rejection.
massive.
But you know, you get turned down, and sometimes you don't even get told why you weren't good enough or whatever. But you know, I'll keep going because I love it. And we wear a mask, right? And sometimes when acting, you actually get to take it off and become the real you. And the whole thing to be an actor is to be honest, is just to show truth in something. It's not actually to be pretend character, to be something else. Maybe if you're doing like a Sweeney Todd or something where you actually have to be a certain character. But general acting is just being honest.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, because you get to be the real you, your authentic self.
No, I appreciate that. How did you deal with your first rejection then?
My first rejection actually came from Portsmouth players, so that was who I was doing it with, and I've always been told growing up that I look like John Travolta. There's aspects of how I look, especially when I smile, as John Travolta-esque. So they were doing Grease, and as soon as they announced Grease, everyone was like, "You got to go for Danny. You got to go for Danny." And I really tried hard. I plugged away at it, and I really thought I nailed the audition. And I got told that I didn't fit any of the characters, not just Danny. I was like, didn't fit any single character, and I was like, I felt that was quite harsh and really hard. And then I got later asked to be in the ensemble, but by that time I was too sensitive to that rejection, so I was like, absolutely not, don't want anything to do with it at all. But that was like the biggest pushback for me. But then I started applying for lots of acting jobs and be like, no, you come second place, third place, second place. You just missed it by this. And I was just like, again and again and again. And then I thought, well, this is going to happen. And then somehow Instagram found this algorithm of rejected actors like having an interview saying, I was this and I done that. And then I started looking at some of the biggest stars in the world, like Meryl Streep. She got told she was so ugly and she'll never be an actress. No, look at her now, Devil Wears Prada, and she's done some of the biggest films. Like some of the biggest stars were being rejected for stuff, and they've made it, and they've done so well for themselves. So you gotta accept that you're just not the right face for this character or for this thing.
And then go again.
Yeah, you just gotta keep going. It's hard, but you gotta keep going if you want it. It's the same with everything in life, right? You know, you might get rejected for a job or an interview, but you don't just stop applying for jobs because you want a job. You know, you got to keep going.
No, fair enough. So I just want to touch there. You said you was in the Navy. When did you get into the Navy?
Well, so I applied when I was 21. So I got in 2013, the January. So I applied, I think, in 2010, but it took 3 years to get in. Wow. So I applied when I was 21, just late 21, and got in just as I turned 25. I guess another way it was escaping. It was escaping Portsmouth. That what I tend to do is I'll escape. I'll run to London. I'll run to the Navy. I'll run here. I'll run there. But I also like the idea of the military. So I joined the Navy, which I excelled at because I really put everything in. I was like thinking about becoming an officer and doing so many bits in the Navy. And I joined 2013. Passed out. I mean, passed out as in like you get your rate at in the August that year, and then about 3 months later got put on a ship and went on a 9-month deployment in 2015. And then I've done my 4 years, and I thought that was enough for me. I saw enough, I learnt enough, and I was like, right, it's that lingering thing. It was something that was like, one thing that's always happened to me is like I get really good at something, and then my brain's like, I completed it, mate. It's like the in-betweeners thing. Completed it. Done this, completed it. Even though like something that could have been long-term, but at that time in my life, it wasn't fulfilling me 100%. There was a lot. There's some great stuff, the Navy. Some also stuff that I didn't like, but I just needed to move on from there. And then that was that. So
what stuff didn't you like then? What was it for you?
I think like the Navy for me wasn't as military as I wanted it to be. Like I think like, as ground forces, like in the army and like the Marines, you're more like, for me, that's the more of military. You're on the ground forces, you've got a rifle in your hand, and I don't know what I expected from the Navy, but I knew I was going to be a marine engineer on ship. But I just don't know. It wasn't as military for me, and you're one in all in. So if someone messes up on ship, then you'll also take the brunt for it, and there's only so many times you can keep taking crap for what other people are doing. Like I've done my fair share of being drunk and stuff like that, but like all the time when I'm trying to like, all I wanted to do is train and be the best version, and someone else has come and pissed and caused the ship to have to leave like the port or something, that's just annoying. And I was just like, do I want that? And I had to evaluate stuff, and I had a few relationship troubles at the same time as well, so I was just like, yeah, I think this is a good time to leave.
Yeah. I mean, what's having a relationship like when you're in the...
Well, I was on ship with my partner.
Oh, fair enough.
So, like, she was great, right? And I just think it was the wrong time for us. But imagine being around someone or some people, and it wasn't just that. If you didn't get on with someone on ship, you see them every single day, all day.
Yeah.
So it's like spending. Where do you go when you need space? If you're sailing for 3 or 4 weeks, where do you go to vent or to have time off or peace? And I think it was really difficult because if we weren't getting on, it was awkward. Yeah. And then everyone knows it's awkward, and you feel it's awkward, and you're stressing out, and it's just like I don't know if you've ever had an argument with a girl and you've been sat there and like it's been like cold for a little bit, and then you eventually sort it out. That's like that, but even worse because everyone sees you doing it all the time. It's not you're on your own in the living room. You can maybe go out for a walk quickly. It's there. It's in your face all the time, and I didn't know how to deal with that. Yeah. So it was hard, but no, it's a lesson learned, and I'm glad I went for it because it's made me stronger. Each time you go for a lesson, it makes you stronger and more resilient. Hopefully, you'll learn lessons.
Nice, fair enough. So that was the Navy for you. Tick.
Yeah.
You said once you've done it, you like to tick it off completely, mate.
Yeah.
So where was the next step for you?
So after the Navy, I got a job as an engineer working in care homes.
Okay.
So I was fixing like hoists and stuff like that. It was great at first, but the morbidity of the job kind of got to me a lot. Like I was a Portsmouth-based engineer, but I was sent up to Southampton a lot, and within there I was in the mortuary quite a lot, and I was seeing like cribs with sheets on them and things with sheets on them, and I was just like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. And look, I at that stage in my life I just didn't think I can handle the job, so I just started working for a floor layer and started doing my own sort of handyman business, which was interesting to say the least, and very taxing mentally because that was the first time in my life I'd ever been self-employed. I've always been employed in jobs and had a steady income, and wow, did I see a different part of life. And being a handyman, I remember my brother saying, so I've not seen you at your clothes for like 3 weeks. Like I was coming down on Sunday to say hello, and I was in the same club. I was working Monday to Sunday. I can't even remember if I even earned any money in that point. I was working out of my car at a VW Golf, and I had like bags of cement on bin liners in the back of my car, like doing small walls and stuff like that. It was mental. I always find a way to do something that I can do. I'll find a way around it. I won't be like, I'm not going to do this because I don't have a van. I bought a roof rack. I was like chaperoning doors around on the top of my car. Yeah, it was insane. But I did that, and then with the Navy you get learning credits. So learning credits you build up when you're in the Navy. So basically, if you do leave, so this is a good thing about the Navy, right? And the forces in general, they do look after you. So they want you to stay, but you know, if you want to move on, you move on. So in that time, they don't want you to go out and have no money or have no prospects. So you build up a certain amount that they'll give you credit wise. So I had £3,000 worth of credits to put towards any course I wanted, as long as it's within like their parameters, which is a lot of courses. There's so many opportunities, and obviously my biggest fallback was fitness. So I thought, well, what I do, I wanted to be a PT in the Navy. I wanted to wear all the weight and do all that, but I couldn't get off ship at the time. Guttering. They did offer for me as I left, but I was like, no, I'm too stubborn, I'm going to leave now, even though I probably should have taken it. But I ended up doing a PT course. So I was doing the self-employed stuff. I had a bit of a break from that. I did my PT's course and then went and worked in a gym. So that was like my life after the Navy. And I did that until COVID. Did the sports massage stuff alongside it, and then obviously COVID hit and shut that down. Yeah. Shut both jobs down.
How was COVID for you?
This is going to sound mental, but COVID was one of the best things that happened, right? I was in debt because after the Navy, I had a lot of money, and during the period of being self-employed, I was struggling. So all the savings and everything I was earning was just trickling away, and it wasn't being topped off by enough money. So in COVID, like the day it got announced, obviously I was in 2 jobs where you're face-to-face or you're physical, you can't touch anyone. So I went and worked for my mum's boyfriend doing landscaping. So he took on loads, everyone was getting their gardens done. So I just did that, and we did some big jobs in Hambledon, and I cleared all my debt. Like I swam every morning, like every single morning, because you're allowed an hour off, weren't you? I'd be in the sea at 5:30, swimming for half an hour, and then I'd go and drive to work, work all day, and then I'd do like a half an hour garden exercise in the evening. And like I got shredded, and I took it as, right, obviously I'd just come out of the military not long ago, and I don't want to be the victim. I wasn't, I didn't want to be like, oh God, because everyone was going through it. But I thought, how I can't just melt. I have to sustain myself. I have to be strong, and exercise pulled me through, and working pulled me through.
Yeah, no. I just want to touch on that a bit as well. That transition from sort of full-time employment to self-employed. You said that you sort of, if you see something, you have to sort of see it through. How was it waking up and knowing that if you don't work, your bills won't be paid?
Scary. Scary because like you think about, right, and this is, people don't take this into account. So if let's just say I charge out £150 a day, right, and I'm working in a job, say in Chichester, I've got to account for £20-30 worth of fuel. Let's just say £10 to £15 a day, and then my insurance a month, which is between 50 or 80 quid or whatever. So you take that out on daily, say for another £5. Then you look at maybe a tool that you need to buy that week or something like that. Before you know it, and people ask for cheaper rates or mates rates, and you're fighting against other people that have come in cheap on a quote, you're now on £90-80 a day. So what started off with sounds like big money, £150 a day. I mean, that's what someone I'd be happy with. But you're now looking at, it's not, because take off tax off all that and take off everything, you're back down to like 80-70 quid a day, and people are like, I won't get out of bed for 100 quid a day, but you are. You have to get out of bed every day, and it was difficult. And it was only until I'd done my first tax return, I was like, shit, I haven't really earned any money. And I'm quite an impulse buyer as well, so I at the stage I wasn't really drinking or doing anything, so the one dopamine hit I could get a day was buying myself a coffee. But you think about that, it's like 25-30 quid a week, and I'm working the weekend, so I'm like, I treat myself because I'm working the weekend. Alright, you're earning that bit of extra money, but it's still going, and like, yeah, the more you work, the more fuel you use. It was hard, but I got my head around it after a few tax returns, and it has been difficult. Like finances haven't always come easy to me, but I lived in a bit of a funny mindset with that, and this is where I heavily believe in belief systems. So my go-to would be saying like, oh, I'm terrible with money. I literally created my own reality by saying the same thing. So it's a quote from Bruce Lee. It's quite interesting. He says, be careful what you say about yourself, even in jest. Your body doesn't know the difference. Words cast spells. That's why they call it spelling. So even when we say, oh, I'm terrible, I'll forget that. You're bringing that into your life. You're creating your own reality by saying something. You repeat it over and over again. Now I change what I say. I don't say I'm bad with money. I don't say I'm crap with money, or I don't have any money. And funny enough, my finances have started booming. And for years I'd say I was bad with money. I'd always get a bit of money and then it would just disappear. Get a bit of money and disappear. Because I'd always be like, oh, I'm terrible with money. I'm the idiot. Like, don't get me wrong. There's times that you can say stuff but you believe it. If you're saying like, I'm a complete failure and you're really, really down and you really believe it, then you probably are going to become that. But like me calling myself an idiot, like I know that I don't truly believe that. I know I'm a very intelligent man that acts like a bit of a fool and a jester. But use the term idiot. But even then, I've got to be skeptical. I've got to be cautious about what I say about myself, because I want to believe that I'm the best version of me, that I'm capable of everything. But yeah, I digress. But to go over the self-employment thing, yeah, it's hard. And so anyone that is self-employed, like yourself, you'll know. Like you've got to work when it's there, and you've got to work way more than if you were in a normal job, because you don't have that security.
Yeah, it's that 24 hours, that constant on your mind.
It's all night, innit? It doesn't switch off.
Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, so you said that your fitness and massaging was like your next call in, and through lockdown, that's when you found everything. For me, it was the same. Through lockdown, everything was at peace, and I got to focus on the fitness. When did the man-mind idea come around then?
Yeah, so I was in London. So I moved up to London. Basically, it's a long story, right? So I had a few issues here. Like I had a friend who was my best mate, who I loved as a brother. I haven't really talked about this much, but this was a massive part of my journey. He was my best mate, and I was supposed to be his best man. And the idea of being someone's best man from my life, from my childhood, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to get this opportunity, even if it's just this once. Like, I would always be on his beck and call if he wanted me to drink with him or whatever. And all right, there's a lot going on in COVID. Everyone had their problems. I had a lot of issues with my family in COVID and everything. I mean, you know, we're being shut down from the world. We don't know what's going on here. So obviously I've got my own problems and debt and stuff, and I just lost 2 of my primary jobs and I had to go out and get another one. We didn't speak as much, but during the first start of it, we did do a bit of work with each other. But I always got him work if he needed it, because he kind of was like stagnant in his work. So I always got him building work if he needed it, and we worked together. But you know, like when you see people you haven't seen a mate for a year or so, you can still reconnect and love each other. It was quite a long period, but we eventually caught up during I think 2020 or 2021, and it was getting closer to the stag do. And me and my other mate were joint best men, and we were supposed to be getting it sorted. And I hadn't heard anything for ages, and we eventually met up, and he basically said he didn't get excited to see me anymore. He cut me as his best man, and that opened up an abandonment wound I never knew I had. This was the catalyst for everything happening in my life, and I was like, you know, F you and F the world and whatever, you know, I don't need anyone. And I thought I was really over it, but I was desperate to get out of Pompey at that point. I was so hurt, and I kind of shut myself off I lost other friendships during that, and never got to be the best man, and we haven't spoke since actually. But I was like, I've got to go. I've got to get out of this place. So I went up to London. I was going to go on my own because I just recently split up with my girlfriend. She bought a flat up there, so we kind of moved in as friends, and we got back together. And then, but during, like, it was all right. But when I got up to London, I just still didn't feel at peace. This peace I've been searching for in the Navy, up mountains and everywhere, it wasn't there. And I was like, when is this going to come? Like, what is going on? Like, so I was in London. A lot of stuff happened in London, which I won't touch on too much now, but come the February, March time, I was like, I've got to sort my life out. Like, what is going on here? I need to sort something out. And first of all, it was like, I need to make money as much as I can, because I was trying to do massage in London, but it was very difficult. I kept on getting asked for a lot of like sexual massages from men, and it was like kind of pissing me off, and I had to take my website down. And I was working for an events company, but I was getting paid like £800 a fortnight, and my bills were like £2,400 a month, like self-employment stuff. I was taking out loans and credit cards to just keep topping up my account, but obviously these are monthly payments I've got to keep paying back. So I was like, I need to make additional income. So I started Man Mind t-shirts, and they're all based on what I believed in, that men were, right? So the stoic, the healer, the hunter, the gatherer, the warrior. There's a few other ones in there, but everything I believe that men are, they reside in men, were that. Like, we can heal, we can be stoic, we can be the hunter, we can be the gatherer, we can be all those things. So I was like, I'll put that into t-shirts, and I'll make it as a brand. I got in like a month in, and I was like, this isn't what it was. This isn't what I wrote in that monologue. This isn't what I wanted it to be. So I started doing videos on my Instagram. I started a Man Mind page, and it was a video Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it was a nugget of wisdom, I call them, of stuff that's helped me get through in my life. So whether it be like a saying or a quote or something that I've done, whether it's like going to do exercise, eat healthily, it's all stuff based on that's got me to where I was. And at that point in my life, I thought I'd been strong for a lot of stuff. I've been through a lot of stuff and dealt with a lot of stuff, and like, I know I've got experience to offer the stuff to people. So I did the videos, and then eventually in the May, me and my girlfriend split up, and I moved back down to Portsmouth in the June, very, very quickly. And we were still kind of seeing each other somehow. It was a bit of a weird, crazy relationship, but I started the Man Mind morning. So I put a post out, random as hell. I was just like, would anyone want to come to this meetup? We're going to do breath work, we're going to do a sea dip, and we're going to have a catch up and a coffee. So I wanted to create a space for men to just be able to talk, because it's something I've wanted to do forever. I've never felt like I could just open up to someone and they listen, because that's generally what men need. They don't need solutions. They want someone to be like, I've got you, tell me what you need to say. All right, it's difficult, we need to break that stigma down, it's fine. But that's where the Man Mind morning come from. 24th of July, 2023, first morning, 4 men come. I was so nervous, because I'm teaching something that I've been doing for like 3 or 4 years. I've done a lot of cold water therapy. I've even wrote a book on it and how I got into it. It's quite funny. But these men they gave me something that they think that I gave them something, but they gave me something. They started this community by turning up that day. So that's where the Man Mind morning come from. So Man Mind is the whole thing. Man Mind morning is the Sundays, and my nuggets of wisdom are just the stuff that I put out. And I've had a lot of women contact me about this, and oh my god, I resonate with this. But yeah, it is aimed at men, but take from it what you will.
Okay. So it's men only.
Man Mind mornings. I have done some mixed ones, right? Because the whole idea is community, right? And I did a Christmas special Man Mind where people can bring their families. So it was brilliant. I had a Christmas party. I made way too much pork, and we had loads of food. But it gave the men an opportunity to bring their families to watch what they were doing. I think 69 people come down that morning. The weather wasn't great. It was a bit windy, bit rainy. But they were all there and they watched their men on the beach do their thing, and we went in the sea, and it was just unbelievable. Then on the New Year's, I did a full mixed one. So women and men joined together, because although we need men, we need a community ourselves, men to talk to. Community is nothing without both sexes, but without men and women together. So I like to join them together now and again. It's not every month, it's not all the time, but it is aimed at men, because we need a safe space, because women are very good nurturers. They're great at nurturing each other. We're not. There, mate, you okay? But this is allowing people to learn stuff, so we're learning off each other to be able to communicate better. And from all the feedback I've got, and had a lot of feedback about, it's changing lives, it's helping relationships, it's helping friendships. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, at the moment it's aimed at men.
Okay. I just want to touch on something there. I'm trying to figure out how to word it, but how important would you say, just go a bit deeper on it, it is to be listened to?
I mean, look, I think it's insanely important, right? Because men, we internalise a lot of stuff, and we're living in a world at the minute where it's like, well, how are we supposed to be men, right? Are we supposed to open doors, or are we supposed to not? Are we supposed to be stoic and strong and be that resilient guy, or are we not? Are we supposed to be nurturers? How nurturing are we supposed to be? It's a very confusing time with everything that's going on at the minute. And I can see it. I've always been quite, resilient, stoic, go to the gym and, hey, you'll be all right. But sometimes a guy just needs someone to listen, not give him a solution, and just be like, right, I hear you, I understand it, and without even turning around going, yeah, I know what that's like, yeah, I've been through this as well. We just want to be listened to. And then men are really good at figuring out, once they've vocalised it, once they've heard what they've said and they've been listened to, they're like, shit, that's all I needed. I've had a lot of the guys that have come to my mind, you see them week on week and they're very quiet and they don't say much, and then you give them an open, at the start, people are coming to me and talking to me like I'm some sort of guru. I'm not. I've got experience in a lot of stuff in life, and I'm just a listener. That's it. You got 2 ears, you got 1 mouth. Yeah. So you listen to them, you ask them a question, and all I ask is, how was your week? Boom. 15 minutes of talk, and then they're like, wow, I feel incredible, and that's it. That's all it takes. It just listen, but really listen, and show that you listen. So one of the biggest things I learned was not just hearing what someone's saying, listen. So when you speak back to them, you say, so how did da-da-da-da make you, well, how's that affected you? Because if you go, that doesn't look like you're really doing much. But if you can say, pinpoint something from what they've said, that means oh my God, you've heard what I've said. It might not be an instant thing that they ping, but they know that you're listening. It's not tell me about that thing that you're going through, because it's deep. Men find it really difficult to open up. Really difficult. And some of them, it's the difference between life and death, just to be able to open up and be like, right, this is where I'm at. I've heard some stuff from guys. I've heard them say things that are like, whoa, that's deep. And I want to help that, and I want them to feel like they've got a safe space to be able to talk.
Valid. And how do you deal with that then? So when someone comes to you with really dire, circumstances or dire information, how do you deal with that?
It's difficult, right? So it's difficult and it's not, right? I'm an empath. I already do a job. I've done sports massage for 5 years, right? So it is like a therapy room. People talk, they open up. So I always have kind of absorbed energy, and it can be quite draining. In that moment, I'm 100% present and me. and I give them all. But yeah, I do have to decompress like that. But that's the good thing. Like the good thing about me is that I eat well. I train. I meditate. Like I do all the things that help me alleviate. I ground. One of the biggest things I learned, right, is to do grounding. So when we build up this energy, and it can be words. Like I said, words can cast a spell. If I told you now, and if I said, "Look, dude, you're amazing. You look incredible," and that you felt the sincerity in me, that's going to leave, and that you're going to be like, all right, you might not believe every word because we struggle, don't we? But there's a part of you that's going to be, wow, okay, that's nice to hear. Alternative, if I said, you put on weight, have you, mate? Like that's going to affect you. Like so, saying something and absorb it, you absorb that, right? So you absorb energy, you absorb the words, whatever. So I have to decompress. So doing the cold therapy, doing the breath work, the stuff I teach. I do everything that I say, and that's what helps me decompress. And sometimes I do get overwhelmed, and if I'm talking to someone at the time, then I have to be like, look, I just need a night off. Can we continue this chat tomorrow? But I know that these people, where they're at, look, I'm not a trained counsellor, but you don't have to be to listen to someone and hear them, because some people don't want to go counselling. And a lot of them have said, I would never speak to a counsellor, but you have helped me open up. If you help one person, that's it. But yeah, just I've got my things. I've got friends. I've got friends I can speak to. The whole idea is we can lean on someone, right? When you're up, you can be leaned on. But when you're down, you should be able to lean on someone. And that's how this whole thing, it goes around in a big circle. I've seen it. Now they see me at my worst. I started Man Mind when I had attachment trauma with my girlfriend, and I was turning up and I was like, had this weird smile with like dull eyes, and they've seen me get to where I am now, and they're like, God. Some of them have been from the very beginning, and I've seen them change, and they've seen me change. But we've all leaned on each other at one point, and that's the important thing. We can. So when someone's up, I've got you, and when someone's down, it's like I need you, and that's what it's all about.
Okay, that's fair. What is attachment trauma then? Just want to touch on that.
So I never heard of it until last year. So after the breakup, I got told by a therapist that I had attachment trauma. So what I was suffering was a codependency towards my ex. I had a bit of a crazy childhood, and it leaves you with like an attachment style. So you can either be secure, or you can be like an avoidant, or you can be quite anxious, depending on how you were nurtured or whatever. And look, this isn't like, oh, my childhood was so bad, but it doesn't take a lot. It could be like a breakup that you've noticed, because children internalize stuff, right? For some reason, unbeknown to the world, children see like a breakup, or they see shouting, that's my fault. And then they become a little bit insecure about stuff, and that insecurity can lead into adulthood. So you can have an attachment style. So after the relationship, so my ex was my rock, right? We got on so well. Like, she was amazing, she was caring. I pushed her away at times because I didn't know who I was at the time, but she was my rock, and she became my secure blanket. So when she went off and finally done her thing, and she met someone else, and I was left like a little wounded boy, I didn't feel like that was gone. Like, my secure person in my life had disappeared. So that left an even bigger wound than heartbreak. It left that break, that attachment had gone. And like, we didn't have many boundaries on when we spoke all day, every day on the phone, and we saw each other all the time. So we'd just be on the phone to each other way too much. So we didn't set any boundaries, but I didn't know how to set boundaries because I was like this little lost boy. And this is where it comes back to that thing that was missing in my life. I never knew what it was. And I realised that it was wounds that I needed to heal from childhood and stuff like that. So I realised what it was. I looked at a book called Attached, and done a lot of podcasts, and I'd done way too much self-help than I probably needed. So I was self-helped out by the end of it. But I looked at, and it opened up a new world for me. And that's what I talk about at Man Mind. I open people up to, like, how has your childhood affected your adulthood? Because it does. And do you have an attachment style? And it's not going around and like labeling people with everything, but it gets people thinking like, oh, I see things in me. Oh, do I do that? Do I avoid? What did I do? I went to the Navy. I went to London. I avoided everything because it was the easiest thing to do. It's scary having to lean into reality and have to deal with issues that have been there, like, that have created you as a person. That's who you are. So yeah, attachment trauma, crazy, but when you learn about it, you become aware of it. It's a new world. Yeah, it is. Trust me, it's class.
So how do you now set boundaries in your relationships?
So for me, I set in turn. two types of boundaries, right? Internal or external. It's look, mate, you've kind of annoying me at the minute, and you're bringing me down. So can we either not do that, or I'm gonna have to see you less and less? That's an external boundary. An internal one, where you don't have to tell anyone what it is. You could just do the thing. Without telling complete lies, like, mate, I'm at the minute, I'm doing my own thing. I'm kind of like focused on myself. So I'll let you know when, I'm ready to meet up. Because you don't have to tell people, you're this, you've done this, and this is the. So I set boundaries by, sometimes they break, right? And the biggest thing about boundaries that we set is we're not angry at the person. We always angry at ourselves. How many times have we said, I'm not going to speak to that person because they bring me down? You go out and meet up with them, they bring you down, you're like, oh my God, why did I do that? Why did I go see them? That's all they do. We're just angry at ourselves because we break boundaries. But if we weren't shown how to set boundaries, if we don't know how to set boundaries, then how are you going to set them? But I set boundaries now with friendships. I set boundaries now in new relationships by not talking so much. I won't do the phone call thing anymore. Sit there on hours a day with my headphone on doing tasks, multitasking, because that's not even good anyway. You should focus on a task on its own without doing a million different things, because that's where you put the effort into that thing. So that's where I set boundaries. All right, we break them, and sometimes I'm not the best at them, but I try to enforce them. And the more you do something, it's habitual, right? The more you do it, the more it becomes part of you and who you are.
Fair enough. And I guess a really testing question I have here is how important is it to be alone?
Very. And I know it's hard, right? Funny enough, I worked out that I've been in relationships in my life about 4 years, right? So the rest of it, I left home when I was 20. So for 12 years, I've been on my own. I lived on my own, apart from 3 years. So 9 years I've actually lived on my own. And it's really easy to have to go into another relationship because it's familiar, right? Or a friendship, to find someone instantly, because it's that horrible, overwhelming feeling. It's painful. Loneliness is painful. When you're sitting there and you're like, oh, there's no one here. And then that's when you start spiraling, the thoughts come, I'm lonely, I've got no one, I'm this. Then, because of loneliness, that's when you can start creating your reality of, I'm not this, I'm not worthy, But loneliness is important because you need to be able to be strong on your own. You need to be able to deal with that. One of the biggest things, and we talked about this before, is sitting in silence, leaning into the feelings, not avoiding everything all the time, like I did. Like, we even talked about going to the gym. You'll know when you're either avoiding and you need to like run away from something, or you can happily sit there on your own and be like, right, okay, this is painful. Look, cold water's painful, hurts your toes, hurts your hands, but you do it and then afterwards you feel great. We don't give ourselves enough time to sit in loneliness for it to feel good at the end. We need to spend more time on our own, sitting on our own, and be like, right, okay, this is horrible. Like, there was times after Man Mind, the Man Mind gave me the biggest hit, right? I'm doing cold water therapy, I'm doing the breath work, I'm having a coffee, dopamine, and with guys, dopamine, seeing how they're amazing, and then I come home, and most of the people I hang around with have kids. Oh, they've got stuff, they've got lives to get on with. So I'm sat here, and I was just like, there was times I was sitting there, and how do I explain it? It's like you were being squeezed by someone that's a lot stronger than you from behind, blowing hot air down your neck. That's how I sat there sitting on the sofa, and I was just like, oh. And I'm a grown man. I thought I was strong. Like, I've been through some shit, and I thought, wow, I'm strong, right? And I'm sat here like looking into space, like, oh my God, this is awful. But I'd close my eyes and I'd sit there, and after 20 minutes I'd be like, oh, this isn't so bad. I'd have to do other things. I'd wash up, or but I'd stop escaping. I stop running away from the feelings, because ultimately that's what we do. Some of them can be escaping to London. Some of the thoughts are so intrusive, you go into the Navy. So like, I sat here listening to the intrusive thoughts and like, okay, if I told you, think of the most happiest memory, the most positive thing you could think of. We all got one, and probably it'll make you smile instantly. And I said, right in that second, stop that feeling now, make it negative, make it feel really bad. You'll be like, well, I can't. It's the same with bad thoughts, right? We can't. It's the yin and the yang. Where energy goes, energy flows. So if we concentrate on that feeling popping in, like, oh, I don't want to feel like that, you're literally giving it everything. So if you sit there in silence, that's it. You're letting the energy flow in and out.
Yeah, it's always been a thing I've battled with, I guess. I've been an only child as well, but it is where it is,
Mate, it's hard, but equally to that, we are tribal creatures. So I can see why people really need to be around people. I get it, it's hard, but there's a difference, right, between being lonely and being so desperate to get into a relationship. I've forced myself not to date anyone because I was an avoidant. So I was always going to meet another anxious girl, and I'm probably going to do the same thing then. Get love bomb, get too attached, see the loss of control, think commitment's going to kill me, fucking run for the hills. That's literally how it works. And then do the same thing, same pattern. Doesn't matter how fit they are, how fucking intelligent, same shit. It will just keep going on. You have to deal with the stuff first, and then you go into another relationship. But the triggers come. You know, you deal with it when you're in the relationship again. Like, this is the thing. Like, with healing, you can do all the healing outside. You can do all the books. I did it. But unless you start dating someone or seeing someone again or going through it again, that you're going to get these things popping up, and that's when you have to deal with them again. So it's all relevant. The loneliness stuff, you've got to be strong enough, and this is where it's hard, and that requires discipline. Strength requires discipline, because you want to do something. There's a pull so strong to go and find familiarity, to follow patterns. You have to go against everything that you know and that you've learnt your whole life to be better at the end, and that's the hardest thing.
Yeah. Wow. Heavy. So, so what would you say with Man Mind then? Now that's the CIC, where do you see it? Do you plan ahead?
I do. I think ahead. I don't plan ahead. I think ahead. So the whole thing for me is building strength and resilience, and how can I do it? So there's the cold water therapy and breath work. So they're all doing the cold showers and they're doing the stuff, right? But also, we've come away from society, and I think we've come away from what humans are truly supposed to be here for. We're supposed to be here for love, and we're supposed to be here for being with people, and being in the moment and connection, right? We're not connecting with nature anymore. We're not connecting with the sea. We're not connecting with the land. We're not connecting in the woods. So another thing is, what I do is I plan trips. So we've done Snowdonia so far. We've done Mount Snowdon, which was insane. Like, I remember not being able to get 2 mates up a mountain. I got 17 men, and it was so deep. Like, people were grieving their families' deaths and dads, and we were hugging and crying at the top of the mountain together. It was just insane. Went to Scotland. That was literally mental. The weather was unbelievably crap, but we laughed the whole time. So I'm trying to show these men that there's a bigger world than sitting at home, sitting in pubs, drinking, and doing the shit and wallowing. Get them out to see the world. So the trips is a big part of what we do. We're having a barbecue at the end of this month on the 29th. So it's a big Man Mind summer barbecue, just to bring families and friends together. So I want them to be involved as much as possible. But the main thing is, I want to eventually do retreats. I want a Man Mind circle, but just because of where I've been working so much, I've still got to clear the debts. I'm still doing the stuff I need to do to get out of this. I'm going through like a branding thing with Man Mind, where I'm going to kind of relaunch it, because it's been a year. I'm going to relaunch it again, so more people aware of it. It's getting into more spaces. There's a lot more people coming, and I'm meeting people. I'm networking with some really cool people. They're I guess it's just drawing them in. Like, it's the secret, right? The power of the now. You're bringing these people in, and everyone in Man Mind, like some of these people, I work in this thing. I do marketing. I do this, and it's kind of helping Man Mind grow naturally, organically. So I want to do the Man Mind circles. I'd love to be somehow linked to counselling and therapy sessions, where people will have an outlet, maybe like a phone line or something like that, like all ways where people can just call up someone. That's I don't know how I'm going to get there. That's the plan. But to also, I'd love, and this is like recent, to do Man Mind on the road. So get it so big and so popular, I can take it around the UK, and maybe even having pockets of Man Mind mornings, and people haven't paid through where it's a CIC, and we can get funding, pay someone 20, 40 pound to take a Man Mind session in, I don't know, Scotland or somewhere on the coast or Cornwall or something. That'd be insane. To start pulling men in all corners, or even a body of water in London. Like, there's a group that I was talking to that do a cycle thing, and I said, well, let's link up. They do a bicycle. Let's ride to a spot of water. I'll take the breath work. We do a cold plunge, and then we'll have a coffee. I want to branch out. I want to make it big. I want more people to know that there's space that they can just feel open to talk.
Mm.
And that's how we get into it.
Yeah, that's solid. Well, no, amazing,
That's
man.
the plan.
And I'm excited to see it.
It will be good, mate. There's lots to come. It's growing organically,
Mm.
and I'll just go push it, do more.
I think that's the best way, though. Organic growth. It's real. Any other way, it's forced.
It's just being me, right? I'm never a liar. I'm not a bullshitter. What you see is what you get. I will just be and act the way I am. I went through stages of my life about caring what people thought of me. I don't hold back here. They know I'm a class clown. I'm a fool. But that's man mind is what I bring it in my personality, and that's why people love it, because it's welcome. I don't judge anyone. There's no story you could tell me about your life. There's no deepness you could go to where I'll be like, wow, oh God, I'll take anything you've got, because we all deserve a chance to say what we need to say, no matter what it is. And I'll listen, and there's no judgment, and I won't go off and be like, oh, did you hear about Fee? It's all, what you say is deep, it's kept together. And if you want to tell everyone, or people want to, you're interested in telling everyone, speak out, and we'll listen. But yeah.
That's solid. Would you ever go into counselling?
I am an error about it. The thing is, like, I was thinking of doing a course, right? I don't know if I want to sit down and do one-to-ones, because I do a lot, right? I do my acting stuff. I love my fitness. I take on a lot of man mind anyway. Like, I'm happy to help the lads and as and when, but again, where I absorb a lot of everyone's energy, I don't know if I want to have 4, 5, 6 different clients a day where I'm doing the same thing. And when you hear heinous, deep stuff, it does leave a mark on you, and you have to then go to get therapy. Like, therapists have therapists. Some of the biggest speakers in the world, like Tony Robbins, have psychologists. They have therapists, because the public eye and the backlash and stuff. Like, you need your own outlet as well. That's what you were asking me. How do I do it? Like, I'd need so much more if I was to do that, but I'm happy. I know I've got a lot of knowledge, and I'm not. Counsellors and that are brilliant, right? And talking therapy is brilliant, but it's not for everyone. It wasn't for me. Like, I did a few sessions. I was like, I'm just regurgitating the same old stuff. The biggest thing for me was hypnotherapy, to help deal with, to actually change cognitions. And with man mind, when people are repeating stuff and we keep talking about it and we keep giving them tools, that's how they're dealing with their stuff. And some of them was like, I went to counselling for years, and I've come to 6 or 7 man mind sessions, and I've come further than that. It's going to be different for everyone, right? Some people really love counselling, some people love hypnotherapy, some people need a psychologist, some people need EMDR, some people need man mind. So that is a form of therapy.
Yeah. I guess, what is happiness? First of all, would you say you're happy with life?
So happy is funny, isn't it? I see happiness as quite fleeting. Like, you bring me a coffee, right? You've just made me happy. You do something for me, you've made me happy. But I think really it's about joy. So happiness, I think, can come and go. For me, it's joy. What brings you joy? There's nothing that stops me wanting to get up on a Sunday morning to go and take breath work, to go in the sea and just hear these lads. To me, that brings me joy. It fulfills me. The purpose that I was looking for was that, and I find it in my acting. That's what brings me joy. Fitness, getting up in the morning and doing the Wim Hof, it brings me joy. Like, things can bring you happiness in the moment. I believe that it's inside of us. Whatever you look for, it's not in a partner. Like, this is the thing with the world, right? Oh, they make me happy. They're an asset to your life. Yeah, you should be making yourself happy. We should be finding that inside ourselves. I believe there's numbers that stop that, like alcohol consumption all the time, doing drugs all the time, smoking and vaping, things that numb our brain to stop us releasing these chemicals that help us find joy. Junk food all the time stops us finding joy. I think there's innate things that are in our biology that bring us joy, right? For yourself, exercise brings me joy. It brings me, at the time I'm hurting because I'm pushing myself, but afterwards there's no other feeling like it. And seeing someone smile and seeing you change their mind brings me pure joy. Happiness, I think, more like that word, it's like a fleeting thing. It's like a fleeting moment of happy. I'm happy. Now I'm sad. I'm happy, but do you have joy? You can have joy and be joyous, but also have happy and sadness. Like, if you wake up and you have a really good day, and then the next day you have a really bad day, does that mean you've got no joy in your life because you've had one bad day, you've had one bad moment, because your happiness has now turned to sadness? I wouldn't say so. If you have two beautiful, perfect children, but you have a really shit day at work that brings you down, does that mean you've got no joy in your life? When you go home to them, is that like, no, not even that can bring me anything? I don't, that's joy, that's love, and that's the gift. Whereas fleeting moments of happiness and sadness come and go. And that's one thing I learned from all this last year, is I forgot that you have highs and lows. I was on such a level, that I forgot that when the highs are high and the lows go really low. And then when the lows come, it's like, oh my God. But now I'm like, well, guess what's coming? Because the only reason I got here is because I was on a high. What's coming next is another high. And then you're probably going to get on a low at some point. But yeah, joy. If you'd asked me this last year, I would have said no, nothing. I don't know. I wouldn't have had an answer for you, but genuinely, without being a bullshitter, do I have bad days where I feel crap? Yeah. Do I question my reality some days? Yeah. But am I generally happy? I'm generally a happy or joyous person, but I have fleets and moments of happiness, and then I have sometimes sadness.
Valid. Numbers. I'm going to touch there. So with numbers, it's arguable that would you say fitness can be a number for some?
Yeah, it can. I've overtrained. Like, insane. Like, training 3 times in a day. Do you really think, like, are you an athlete training for a 100-meter race where you're doing that focused training, where you have a massage in between, you know that, damn, I've got this like 6 weeks of intense training? If you're doing that all the time, or if your go-to is like, I've got no friends that are about today, I'm going to go train again. But didn't you do a run this morning? Didn't you train this morning? Yeah, I actually put myself into injury from overtraining over the years. Like, I have damaged ankles or a bad hip, and I'd still run. I had IT band syndrome when I was doing events, obstacle course racing, on the most insanely painful legs, but I was gritting my teeth when I was running. I was like chucking cold water and ice on them. I was like, I'll be alright. If that ain't a number, then, it's everything in it. It's like, food can be a number, alcohol can be a number, drugs can be a number. Being with someone that you know you shouldn't be with, but you're so attached to them, and so you need to spend every waking moment. Was those phone calls a number? Was that codependency, speaking all day, 6 hours on the phone? Was that a number? You could say so. Yeah, fitness 100% could be a number.
Yeah, nice. What's your relationship with like alcohol and smoking and stuff in the past? Have you used them? Or
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've taken drugs. I've smoked. I've drank. I wasn't like a full-time smoker, but anytime I had a socials, like when I was 18, I joined a call centre, and it was one of the biggest call centres in Portsmouth, TLC, and the social was amazing. I entered this world of partying and it brought friendships and laughter and and it was incredible. And you get carried away, like you try a cigarette and it's like, ugh, and then 6 months later it's a lovely taste. Like having a biscuit with a coffee, you have a cigarette with a drink. And what I noticed is, like, over the years of damaging myself, and it is damaging. There's like, you can call someone born for not drinking, but alcohol is a neurotoxin. It's a poison. Your body can't recognise it. That's why you feel so shit, because it's trying desperately to break it down. There's no doubt about it. There's no arguments. It's literally on paper. There's medical studies. Same with smoking. Same with vaping. I don't believe we're at the extent of how bad vaping is for you. I think we're going to know the long-term effects of it. But I know it causes anxiety because it's heavy metals that interact with the fluids and chemicals in your brain. It affects your hormones. All these things are hormone blockers, right? Even junk food. So my relationship used to be, I used to go out party, but I always felt like, again, that phenom I said, it was something that's like, at the end of it and in the morning, like, no one likes hangovers. And I'm not going to say I'm exception, like, oh, I just felt really bad. I know everyone does, but I didn't want to keep doing it, but I did it. I didn't want to keep doing it, but I did it. And I got to a stage where I was like, why do I keep doing stuff that makes me feel so bad? And when I say bad, like, I'd be like do coke, and I didn't have a partner, I didn't have a girlfriend, I didn't have anyone rubbing my head in the morning. There, Pookie, you'll be okay. Let's get you a roast dinner for the day. I was on my own, so I'm staring at the ceiling till 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the morning. Like, why am I doing this again and again? Like, what am I looking for? What am I searching for? What I'm searching for isn't at the end of any of this. It's not on the alcohol. It's not on the coke. It's not on whatever else I was doing. It's not cigarettes. So, I knew when I was going through a phase. When I was going through like an avoidant stage, I'd smoke and drink again. It'd only be a couple of drinks and only be a couple of cigarettes. But it'd be in the evenings, every night, and it would falter my gym. It would get in the way of my swimming. You can't swim 2,000 meters on like having smoked 4 cigarettes the night before. And for me, like, some people will do that, but I was like, no, you're either a drinker or a smoker, or you're into fitness. It's all or nothing. Which way am I going? So after last year, I came back and I went to Victorious. I had about 4 drinks, and I had this horrible feeling come over me like I've never had before. And don't get me wrong, I've drank a lot in the past, and I've never had that feeling. I was getting like beer fear, or whatever I could call it. It gave me extreme. I'm like, I'm going to a place I don't want to be. It's finally in my brain saying, it's like, mate, how many times have you been here? It's like something was giving me that feeling to be like, I can't drink anymore. So I got straight on the water, and then after that, I had one. I went to Spain in October. I had half a beer. I was like, nope, not ready for this. And the last time I drank was last weekend. I did have 2. And straight away after 2, I was like, I don't even need this. I just knew I was in a better place, so I thought I'd try it. And I was like, I don't need this. And I've got to the stage now where I couldn't care less. Like, if I went on holiday, I was never going to say I'm never going to drink again, but I will never drink like I used to. I will never binge drink or get effed up like I used to, because I was escaping, and I don't need to escape anymore.
Yeah, no, solid. So you're finally grounded. Ish.
So we're getting
on the
there.
road.
We're getting there. Well, look, it's a journey, innit? Like, how healed can you ever be? How do you know when you're fully healed? I don't think there is a day. Something's going to pop up in your life, no matter what it is, that could trigger you. That could a new experience could happen. You don't know. What if you lost a limb? How are you prepared for that? What therapy route have you been down to cope with that? You're going to cope with stuff. The stuff that's going to come along. It's just how we deal with it. It's how we see it. Are we prepared for it?
Class. Well, cool. That kind of leads us towards the end. So I guess final question that I have is, what does it mean to be masculine?
So my version of it is, you need to be strong, right? Men are naturally stronger than women. We are protectors, and that's how I see us, as protectors. I'm not taking anything away from the strength of women. They carry babies and they manage to go through that ordeal and pain. But we should be strong, we should be resilient, not just for ourselves, but for the people that we want to love, whatever partner you choose, whatever friendship you choose. I don't mean being stoic, standing at a funeral and not showing tears. We should be vulnerable at the same time, but we should be allowed to be that. Once we're allowed to be vulnerable, then we can rebuild and be strong again. It works in this cycle. I believe so. I honestly believe it. So when I said about my t-shirts, I believe we should be stoic. Be stoic, be strong, show strength. But think about logically. Men are logical thinkers, right? We try to be, at least. And I know women watching this, they are more emotional thinkers, and that I'm sure they'd be happy to admit that. So when we try and think logically, we got to think about, right, how is there logic? Am I feeling emotion here? Because emotion, when your intelligence is low, your emotions are higher, right? So usually that comes from lack of sleep, drugs, all that lot. So I know I'm going about this a bit long-winded, but when we think logically, we've got to think logically about how we're perceiving ourselves. Like, is this situation doable? Can we think about this and turn it down a bit? Right, let's think about this logically. That's the stoicism. Can we be the hunter? Can we go out and work hard and be tough? And can we go and exercise in the gym? Like, to be masculine, do you want to die knowing that you have put everything into being a man? That you have physically pushed yourself to the limit? How fit can we possibly be? How healthy can we possibly be? How loving can we possibly be? Like, we forget all about this. We forget, like, how much can we learn about women? because that's what's like, or whatever. Like, how much can we learn about the opposite sex? There's so much to learn in this world. There's so much to take away from this one life. We get one chance. So for me, to be masculine is to be strong, to be stoic, to be fit, but to be vulnerable, to be open, to connect, to listen. We can't just want everything, like, you need to be this. We can't live in a world where, like, men need to be listened to, but then not listen to a woman, or listen to your mum, or listen to your kids, or listen to your mate. We've got to be all of it, and that it takes work. No, life ain't easy. We've got to put the effort in all the time to be strong men and to continue what we're doing, but we can't fall into victim mentality. It doesn't work. That's when you lose your job, you lose your loves, you lose your children. You know, going into that, it's a big spiral. We need to be like, right, this is horrible, this pain, this loneliness, this feeling's horrible, but let's lean into it, because after we lean into it, it won't be as painful. When you lean into stuff, it's actually a lot easier, but it's just the thought of doing it. So yeah, in a roundabout way, to answer your question, that's what I believe in masculinity. But it's everything, isn't it? You got to have a bit of feminine in you. It's the yin and the yang. You can't be all masculine, all angry, or brute. It doesn't work.
A lot of them are. Well, a lot of the things you listed there, I agree with. I'm an advocate for that. But they don't have a relation to technology in a way. So would you say you have a negative view on technology?
So my view on technology in the world we live in at the minute, like, there's a lot of stuff on social media, right? And there's a lot of stuff that a lot of the things I believe are traps. I believe social marketing is great for marketing, yeah, and putting your businesses out there. But with technology, like I said about we're living out of humanity, we're not living how we used to be. We're not walking in the woods. We're not going in the sea. We're not grounding. And I could link that with things, right? Technology, cars and watches and clothes and da-da-da. That doesn't show masculinity to me. None of that. I don't believe that having a expensive car shows how masculine you are. Like, if we go back a long time ago, what showed how masculine you were? Fighting in an arena with a sword. It was usually how good you were with a sword or a bow, or how good you were as a builder, or whatever like that. That was basically how masculinity was shown. Now it's how much money you earn, or what Armani t-shirts you buy. But I don't believe it's that. I believe it's what I said it was. I don't believe it's in how many Instagram likes or followers you have. It's literally the things when you're at home, dealing with the day-to-day, dealing with the crap, dealing with thoughts, and the same way you got to help your children, you got to help your partner, you got to do it, whatever. That's what it is. Technology is just technology. It's literally what it is. It's noise. It's distraction. Like, come away from that. If you strip back anything, if you strip back the internet, what you're left with? You have to communicate. Take your phone away. You know, don't text all day. I was literally having this chat the other night. If you're on your phone texting all day, how's your day? How's your day? How's your day? What are you going to say when you get home? What are you going to say to your mate? Like, I've got a friend, we're so lousy with our texting, but when we meet up, I didn't know that he went to a funeral. Right, we talk about it there and then. We catch up, proper catch up. And that's what I said about, you know, you get those friends where you don't speak to in like a year, because you haven't talked to in a year. You haven't told them every day what you're doing. They don't know. They might see stuff on social. But remember, I'll leave this with the people watching. We wear a mask, right? Social media can be a mask. A lot of people aren't putting their true self on there. So you're sitting there pining over people that their lives probably shitter than yours. Or they're not dealing with the stuff that they look like they're dealing with. So yeah, technology is great for enhancement of stuff. It's great that we can sit here doing this and people can watch us through a screen. But the real stuff is me here, sitting here with you, talking, looking at your eyes and being a part of this. That's the real part of this interview. You know, people might watch us and be like, oh yeah, but connection, talking, being there, being in front of people. But yeah, technology is helpful, but it's not the be all end all.
Class. Yeah, Mark. That's great, man.
Deep. It's a deep session.
Deep sessions. But yeah, no, I'm looking. Yeah, man, it's been amazing. And thanks for opening up and telling us your story.
Thanks for having me, mate. It's been class.
It's been amazing. And yeah, man, I look forward to see what's happening next.
Yeah, you've got to come down to Marmite now.
No, I will do. You'll catch me in the sea. You'll catch me in the
Cheers,
sea.
Dude.
That'd be cool, man.
Come
Thank
down.
you. All right, man.
Thank
Nice. Thanks, man.
Cheers, guys.